and welcome to Mandobug Crafts, episode 97. What's up everybody? I'm Amanda, but you may know me on the internet as Mandobug, and this is my channel here on YouTube where I share what I am making. This video I have knitting, crochet, spinning, and some sewing talk. So starting the shot with something I've learned. I guess I said this week, but it's been a little over a week since I've recorded, and I've learned quite a bit, but the one tip that I'm going to share with you guys that I think you may not know because I did not know has to do with baby alpaca. When you see a skein of yarn that says baby alpaca, it does not mean that the alpaca came from a baby. I kind of thought that it did, just because of the name sounds like, okay, well, it came from babies. But that is not true. That is a common misconception. Baby alpaca it refers to the fineness of the alpaca. It's something around the top 1% of alpaca that's produced or grown. So it's your finest, nicest alpaca. So whenever you see a label that says baby alpaca, that is the finest alpaca you can get. Not from a baby, although maybe it could be from a baby, but I don't think so. The article that I read said it came off of the back of adult alpacas, and I don't think that that is the only location it can come from. I think that's just generally the location that it does come from. Alright, moving on to finished objects. So for finished objects, I don't have one of them with me, and the other three are wet. So bear with me. The first thing that I finished were my hand spun socks. So this was the opposing 3-ply that I spun up out of a braid of superwash targhee from Cottage Dye Works, and I have a little bit left. So I don't think I told you guys last video that I cut some out of my sock because it was really fine. I came across this section, excuse me, that was almost lace weight, and it was making my rows much shorter on one sock than the other, so one was growing at a faster rate, which was not cool. So I pulled as much of the thin out, and I just, cut and rejoined at a thicker section, and it worked out great for me. And I had said that I wanted to do a different heel in these socks, but I knit too far in order to be able to put a gusset in, and so I just went with my Fish Lips Kiss heel, my lately go-to heel. Although I want to try a toe-up gusset. I've never done a toe-up gusset before, so I want to try that in my next pair of socks. But for this one, I did the Fish Lips Kiss heel. I knit up to the cuff, and then I put in my Insta stories, what do you guys prefer, 1x1 or 2x2 rib? And everybody that voted, it was an overwhelming 2x2 rib, so I popped a 2x2 rib cuff on my socks, and I'm pleased. They fit very well. I could have gone up to 64 stitch circumference, but this being the first time that I knit socks on 000s with my new super loose knitting gauge that I've acquired, not happy about that, but it is what it is. I wanted to be safe, so I went with 60. I'd rather have a tighter sock than a loose sock. So yeah, I went with 60 stitches, although I could have done 64. This is what I have left of my hand spun, plus a small mini skein that I sent to Kat, who gifted me the fiber. So, oh, but I did want to show you guys, so when you do a traditional 3-ply, well, this is an opposing 3-ply, so one of my plies was in the same direction that I plied all three together, and but when you do a 3-ply, there's a good chance that not all your singles are the same length, so you run out of one ply first, and you're left with remnants of 2 other plies. Well, for me, one of them was a regular ply, and one was the opposing ply, and I left them on the bobbin for so long I forgot which was which. So I just chain plied them both in the S direction, or the counterclockwise direction, and so this is what happened. So I chain plied one single until it came out, and then I tied in, well, either tied and or felted, I don't remember, but I joined the second single in and continued chain plying in the same direction. So I have half of this mini skein is a regular chain ply, which is not as elastic as the opposing 3-ply, so there's no give. No, like, trying to pull and see my hands are just moving further apart. No give in this versus the opposing 3-ply, which there's a stretch to it. So that's one reason you're going to want to do an opposing 3-ply, would be to get some more stretch. But this that's not traditional, this normal chain ply 3-ply is softer. It is softer because it doesn't have that 3rd ply with the extra spin in it that gives it that rougher hand. And this is just a mess. This is my spun S, chain plied S, nuts. And I couldn't really tell when I was doing it that this was the one. It wasn't apparent until after I took it off the bobbin and it did this, and then I watched it and thought, oh, maybe it'll come out, and no, that was this. So this might be fun to ply with another yarn later to get an art yarn, because it is so like overspun and curly cued and kind of fun. So those are my leftovers. My other finished object is more hand spun. So I showed you guys in the last video that I was working on spinning that 50/50 alpaca silk, and I was not happy. So that is this skein right here, and it is wet. I washed it and snapped it yesterday and hung it up to dry, and it's damp. It's still pretty damp. But I finished that first bobbin that I showed you guys, and I spun a second one, and I just was not happy with the way that it was turning out, so I decided to ply those 2 plies together. And I had split the fiber for a 3-ply, so I saved a 1/3 of the fiber off to the side. Excuse me. And I decided to do a chain ply at a finer weight with that last 1/3 that I reserved behind. And I don't measure yards or weigh my skeins until after they're completely dried, after they are set. So I have no idea how much these weigh or how many yards I have. But I do know that looking at them, this one's about a worsted weight. It's not very consistent, but when I plied the 2 singles together, it did get softer. So I am happy with the hand on this spin, just not the consistency. I love the color though. I still love this black and white, and I need to knit more black and white things. I love to wear black and white, but I don't really spin or work with black and white yarn. So it's not a lot of yarn though, so I don't know what I can/will do with it. And then this one looks to be more of a DK, like a DK weight, and it is much more consistent, but it's not as soft. I think I might have overplied this, which is why it's lost some softness. But yeah, you know, this one is more consistent because what I found to work better for the alpaca silk combo was to spin it much finer than I was attempting to do, but also to hold much smaller amounts of fiber in my hands. I told you guys in the last video how I was kind of having that issue where the silk was coming from the back and bunching up the alpaca, and I was just having this big cloud of a mess. Instead, I kind of just like took a handful and drafted out a small chunk, and then I even split that in half again, and that's all I would hold in my hand at a time. And I found that I had much more control, but again, this is a slick fiber and it's really easy to overspin. So I didn't super love this spin, but I learned a lot about spinning alpaca, and specifically alpaca with silk. So I want to keep trying this base to see if I can't get better at spinning it. I am all about becoming a well-rounded crafter, as you can guess. So despite my frustration that this didn't turn out as nice as I thought it would, I don't want to give up yet. Also, this skein is going to count for the Year of the Mini Skein Spin-Along that is being hosted by Jade of the Sew Perfect Pearls podcast. I have recorded spinning this, and I'm going to continue to do my mini videos for my mini skein spin-alongs, so I'll have more details about this spin and video on it in that video by the time I get to editing it and uploading it. So yeah, that's only my second skein for her Year of the Mini Skein, and I think we have to do 12. So I'm behind, but I've got plans to catch up. That handspun sock the opposing 3-ply sock spin took up a lot of my spinning time on my wheel, so that is why I've fallen behind. Which, I don't remember if I mentioned, I'm knitting those socks as part of the year of the hand spun socks, spin along, knit along, or crochet. You can crochet your socks, I'm sure. Make along with Stephanie of the Crafty Garden podcast. She's hosting that, and I am challenging myself to 4 pairs. You have to spin and make the socks within the calendar year. So 1 down, 3 more to go. Alright, only 1 more other finished object, and this is a hat that was a request by Lori, my mother-in-law. It's still wet. I'll put it on to show you, but it should not really shrink, but it should dry up a little bit firmer. Alpaca has a tendency to like really stretch out when it's wet. Not that it really shrinks back up when it dries, but I'm hoping maybe a little. This is looks like the Oh Yes cowl, right? But it's a hat. So this is this is going to be the Oh Yes hat. Lori's made so many Oh Yes cowls, and she's like, I need a matching hat. And I'm like, I don't really think that that pattern translates to a hat because it's got holes in it. So what I did was I made it an 8-stitch repeat instead of a 10-stitch repeat to try to close the gaps just a little bit. I still wanted them there, but just not as prominent. And then I did my decreases up those linked double crochets, which gets interesting around the crown because you do a linked double crochet puff stitch together. The concept is there just like any other decrease, and if you're an experienced crocheter, you'll know exactly how to do it. I don't think it's something I've ever seen in a pattern before, so it was kind of weird writing it out, but I like the way that the puff stitches close at the cap, so I made sure to make it that way. And don't let my words disillusion you. I have not completely written up this pattern yet. I've only taken notes based off of my Oh Yes cowl pattern. This will be free because why would I sell the hat if the cowl's for free? So originally when I made this beanie, I wanted it to be a beanie, but I was guessing at how many rows the decreases would take up. So I think I did like one too many to make it a beanie, but I can roll this brim here and then it becomes a beanie, and I like that. I'm a beanie girl. But if you like a slouchy hat, you could easily add, there was enough yarn to make 1 or 2 more regular rows, and you should get, like, this is barely any slouch, but if you did another row or 2, you could have the super slouch. And it has that foundation single crochet first row, so it's not tight, it's nice and has some give to it, unlike a traditional starting chain would. So I'm happy with it, and despite having the holes, because it's alpaca, it's pretty warm. I mean, you can't wear it in the snow, but it almost never snows here, so it's appropriate attire for, you know, the Pacific Northwest. But I mean, if you're in the Northeast, probably not gonna last you through the winter. Maybe a spring fall hat sometimes. But yes, I did finish that. I just need to finish writing up the pattern and of course make the video, because Lori, she's like, I don't read patterns, I just watch videos. So I will have that ready, but that is done. So moving on to works in progress, I knit a little bit on the Maxfield cardigan. So show you, I had previously completed the first sleeve. So this is a DK weight cardigan. I'll put that designer at the bottom. I can't remember her name at the moment, but I'm knitting it out of Dream in Color Everlasting DK in, I think, Galaxy, and Dream On is the variegated. So I am nearing the end of my second sleeve, and I'm knitting these. I switched to Addi Flexi Flips when I finally got my hand on some, and as I'm doing my increases, I'm starting to run out of room. So I've actually bought these little end things, these little rubber ends to keep the stitches from coming off when I store my project, which I've actually never done before. So I've been knitting for what, 4, maybe 5 years. Now, this is my first time ever using these. I just think it's funny. But I'm running out of room, but I know the stitches still fit while I'm knitting it. It's just when I store it, I need these. So yeah, I've been enjoying working on this again. I find that I've got quite a few works in progress, but I kind of burn out on one after a while, especially if it's a larger project. So then I put it away and I dig out another one and kind of fall in love with it again, even though I won't be able to wear this until, you know, next season. Not next season as in this next one, because that would be summer, but you know what I mean, next winter season, fall/winter season. So I am about one more repeat away from finishing the sleeve, and I'm excited to cast on the body. So I've been knitting it on US 5s. I don't remember if that's the recommended needle size or not. Probably not, because I'm a loose knitter, but I have been enjoying working on this. And then also I bound off a pair of socks. I have to cast on a pair of socks. All of these alongs that I've been participating in that are year-long alongs, I'm also participating in the box of socks knit along. So I had to cast on my April socks. And oops, this is secret. You guys, I've been working on secret stuff. I'm not so good at that. I'm not good at keeping secrets. But I've been working on Progress Keeper collaborations, and I've been testing out my prototypes just because I'm so new at making Progress Keepers that I want to make sure that they are functional. Like, not just cute, but functional. Are they too big? Are they too wide? Are they too heavy? Are they too small? Which is not usually the case. But, so I had a secret Progress Keeper on here. But here's one I can show you. This is a tutorial that I found on YouTube. I can link it down below if you want more information on it. But it's a little turtle. Isn't he cute? I don't know if you can see that. He's just a little turtle and he's got a heart in the middle of his back. I followed the tutorial and I love almost everything about him. The only thing I would change is his belly is raw, and I would have liked to put like a little yellow circle there with some lines to kind of finish the other side of his shell. And in the future, I would like to make him smaller to be a better Progress Keeper. I've just been having him hang out on this bag in case I needed him. Oh, and this pin, I don't think I've shared this. This is a pin that was part of the swag that Krista brought when she spoke at Maker's Mercantile, which is where I work. She came and kind of did a little speaking and book signing, so she had a bunch of these pins. I don't know if you could read it. It said "You are enough," and I think it's perfect with my I think I'll just be happy today bag. Just my positivity bag. So anyways, April socks are cast on, and ooh, look at these. Look at these. Trying to fix the needles so I can show you. This, my friends, is some hot pink. Hot pink. And I'm tired. Like, I love knitting vanilla socks, but I'm tired of how simple they can be and look sometimes. So I thought, why don't I fade in my contrasting toe and heel with the contrasting yarn. So this was a sock kit that I got from Vermont Dye Works. Here's the tag. Vermont Dye Works. And this is in the Daydream colorway. Stephanie actually sent me a sneak peek of this yarn before it was even listed, and I was like, that is gonna be mine. Here's what it looks like. I had to hand wind these because my ball winder is broken. I have an electric boy ball winder that I got with a coupon for like 50% off at Hobby Lobby, I think it was, and it's finally like pooped out. I think I might be able to take it apart and clean it and see if it'll work again, but I just haven't found the time to do that yet. With toddlers running around, you don't really want to take things apart in front of them because it just grabs their attention. So I hand wound the balls. So you've got this hot pink contrast and this fun speckled main color. It's like a really soft blue with speckles of a darker blue and pink. So I'm really excited to knit more with this main color to see how it knits up. but I love the hot pink toes. And with the fading in, I thought I would try something gradual. Like I did a 1 by 1 by 1, and then by 2, and then by 3, but I think I shouldn't have put this one in. I think I would have been happy if I stopped here, but I kept going. But I'm not going to rip back, so it is what it is. These are 64 stitches. I decided to go ahead and go up to 64 and see if I like that fit better on 000s. These are Addy Sock Rockets. So, not too far along with these, but I did get them cast on, and I am on track with all my year-long knit-alongs except for the mini skeins. I'm a little behind, but I think I can easily catch up. So moving on to current events. The Oh Yes Cowl Crochet Along has ended, and so I will be giving away this skein of Cattails yarn in the Through the Portal Stone colorway on her Stellina base. This is one of my favorites that Kat has dyed up. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So I went ahead and drew off screen in advance. It was randomnumber.org for 2 through 7. The winner was number 4, who is Jessica, and I was super happy that she won because she has done things like test crocheted for me before, and she's very active in the Ravelry forums, so it's really nice to chat with her. So I'm happy that she won. Not super happy for another international delivery. One of the last giveaways went to Canada, which that's not as expensive as other international shipping, but it adds up, you know, because I don't make any money from doing this podcast. I guess I make some money from making my stitch markers, but yeah, the shipping fees add up. But sorry, there's a bug on my window. It distracted me. But congratulations, Jessica! You get this lovely skein of yarn. I will DM you, but you may see this before me and message me. I just need your address so I can get this yarn to you. And a thank you to everyone that participated in the crochet along. You all made very beautiful cowls, and I got really good feedback. Jessica actually found a mistake because I didn't have this cowl tested before I put it up. I was like, oh, it's super simple. I don't need it checked. That is never true. Always have your patterns checked. But everybody else that's been making them has said, you know, it looks a little difficult, and at first, because it's got so many less common stitches in it, that it can be a little off-putting, but once you do it, it's super simple, super mindless, very quick, and cute. So everybody that's made it has loved it, and some people have made multiples because they love it that much. So again, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that crocheted the cowl. And then also for current events, I am late, you guys. I am late in announcing the CraftyBug Sew Along. I had the best intentions to get a video up on April 1st/2nd, but as you know, April 1st was Easter, and we were sick, so that did not happen, and I'm just now announcing it. But I am doing a sew-along with Stephanie of the Crafty Garden podcast. That's why it's the CraftyBug, Mandobug, Crafty Garden, CraftyBug Sew Along. So this is a selfish sew along where you sew something for yourself. That's one of the biggest rules, is that what you make has to be for you. Now, it's not really a surprise that I'm a selfish crafter, but I've noticed a pattern when it comes to sewing. I generally sew for other people. Besides project bags, I've been making, you know, the diaper bag for my friend, onesies for my kids. I gift a lot of my sewing, and I don't really make a lot of sewing for myself. So I need to make some things for myself, and I've got some plans. I'll share them with you. Real quick before I do, I just want to say that the chatter thread, well, let's go back to the basics. So April 1st is when the sew along started. I don't even think I said that. The sew along started April 1st, so you have to have started your project after April 1st, and it's only for the month of April. Sewing doesn't take as long as some other slower crafts, so we just are hosting this for 1 month. And the chatter thread is being hosted in Stephanie's group, the Crafty Garden podcast group. We didn't want to have 2 chatter groups because it can be hard to keep up with both when you're all talking about the same thing. So we're just going to have 1 chatter group, or chatter thread in her group. We'll have 2 finished objects threads, 1 in each group. You have to be a member of both of our groups. You have to post your finished objects in both of our groups to be eligible for prizes, because we're each giving away a prize. Okay, I'll share I'll share my prize. I am giving away a half yard of 2 different fabrics that I think coordinate, so I hope that you will agree with me. I'm giving away a half a yard of this really cute sheep fabric. This is 100% cotton. And I'm giving away this coordinating pink, which is also a 100% cotton. So just a half yard each, enough to make something small for yourself. So that is what I will be giving away. We did make a rule for this sew along that international people may participate, but you won't be eligible for prizes, just because, as I mentioned earlier, international shipping adds up, and we were like, maybe it's best if we don't have to pay that for this along. But we highly encourage you to participate in the sew along. You just won't be eligible for the prize. But you will get something that you made yourself, which is a prize in and of itself. Also, you know, we're really hoping that everyone that participates can help out. So the whole reason the sew along started was because a viewer, Rebecca, reached out to me when I was making my diaper bag and said, hey, you know, I was going to be sewing this weekender bag by, I think, Amy Butler, but I can't figure it out. I'm struggling. Will you host a sew along? And the first thing that came to my mind was Stephanie. I found Stephanie's channel back when she primarily was doing sewing. She was sewing patterns. It was primarily a sewing channel. And I really enjoyed watching her, obviously, because I subscribed and continued to watch her. But immediately I was like, I don't know that much about sewing. I'm completely self-taught off of the internet and patterns and what makes sense to me and experience. But Stephanie has a lot more experience than me. She's made a lot more things than me. So I thought it was a great opportunity to reach out to her and ask her to collaborate. So all that to say, I really hope this could be a fun opportunity for you to get help from everyone else who's all kind of sewing together for ourselves. So yeah, I have a couple of things planned, but I don't have any firm plans, and I don't even think I have all the supplies I need to start any of my plans. So I have a Tilly and the Buttons Agnes pattern, which I really, really want to make, but I looked through my knit fabrics because it's recommended that you use a knit fabric, and I don't have enough. The pattern calls for, what, 1 5/8 yards, and I have a couple that are like 1 1/4 yards, and I'm like, oh, can I make that stretch? I haven't actually gotten tracing paper to cut out the pattern yet to see if I can squeeze by, because it recommends 1 5/8 yards for all sizes. So I might be able to make like a shorter top. I do have a shorter torso. I don't know. I'll probably just have to buy new fabric, which I've been trying not to bring in more stash. So that's why I don't know if I'm going to be sewing this one. I do have a flannel set. This is Simplicity S0534, and it's a flannel set for a robe, but I mostly got it for the shorts and pajama pants. I think that this would be great for obviously flannel or even like a knit type fabric, and who doesn't have enough pajama pants, right? I basically live in pajama pants outside of public. And when I was at Sew Expo, I think I shared that I picked up this Place for Everything pattern, a Place for Everything, which is a by Annie pattern. It's this really fun zippered case where you have like flip book pages with zippered pouches. And I really, really want to make this one, but I think that I'm missing some supplies. I don't have enough fabric to do it all in one fabric, but you guys know me. I collect Halloween fabric. Like, I have a ton of Halloween fabric. So I think collectively I have enough Halloween fabric to make this bag, and I would want mine to be Halloween themed. So I think that will be nice, but I'm missing supplies like Soft and Stable and the bajillion zippers that you need. But I do have the vinyl. I bought this a while ago. I don't remember what I used it for, but I got a lot of it and I have a lot left. So I'm still missing some supplies for that, but I think this is a highly likely that I'll make this. And then one other purchase that I had seen that I bought years ago, and Lindsay, if you're watching, you'll remember this, because I believe she bought some too, because we were going to do this together and we never got around. But I have a bunch of this fabric that I wanted to sew a summer dress with. and I think this is the pattern that I bought to make, but I don't remember, because looking at this fabric, I'm like, I don't know if this is necessarily the right fabric choice for these dresses. I do gravitate more towards this dress, and I considered maybe what I could do was this could be the skirt portion, and I could do like a black jersey knit for the halter top, or maybe like the t-shirt. I could do the black jersey knit t-shirt with that fabric as the body. I don't know. So that, and I do have black jersey. Not enough for the Agnes top, but I think enough maybe for the bodice of this dress. This is McCall's M6745. It's a Mrs. size, I noticed, that I picked up, but I'm like a Mrs. 10/12. So it should work. But those are my possibilities for the sew along. I would love to see what you are going to be sewing or considering sewing, or if you have any questions, hop on over to the chatter thread. I'll link it down below so we can talk about sewing. Alright, that was a lot of talking. Where's my tea? Oh, I found my card of the fabric. So this sheep fabric is Art Gallery fabric. It's the Landscape in Ashen, and then the pink fabric is Moda Eco Organic Cotton in Petal Pink. So that's specifically what those fabrics are. This tea, I just bought this tea today because I drank through all of the tea that I already had. It was on sale. It's a saffron infused cardamom tea, and it's not bad. It's like a real smooth kind of tea. Like I'm normally used to like a real harsh black tea. This is a black tea, but it's not harsh. It's real easy. It almost feels weak, but I know it's not weak because I steeped it for 6 minutes. Although I guess maybe it has less black tea and more of the herbs. I don't know. Not bad. So moving on to Let's Chat. So I mentioned earlier Easter came and went, and we were sick, so we had to stay home. We couldn't go to family Easter because there were family members who had just had major surgery, and we didn't want to risk, and there's pretty elderly people too, that we didn't want to risk getting them sick, so we stayed home. And side note, the reason we were all sick is because my kids have been going to daycare 2 days a week, and that is like a germ factory, which is totally new for us. My kids have never been to daycare. We've been calling it school, so they get really excited to go to school, and they have their backpacks, and I think it's really nice for them to be able to go play with other kids, and it's only 2 days a week. So it's been a very positive thing for our house, and my kids' social skills as well, with the exception of getting sick. Now, because they only go 2 days a week, they go 2 days, and then like a day or two passes, and then they get sick, and then they start to get better, and then they're going back to daycare again. So I know I was talking to Holly, and she said that when she first put her daughter in daycare, she was like sick on and off for a whole year. So I think that may be in store for us, unfortunately. It's not like the worst sickness ever, but it's like snot and, coughs, and, I caught it a little bit and it put me out. Like I even took a nap one day, and I don't even take naps ever. So, and my husband can't get it off his back either. He's just been congested and sore throat and sick, so but there's been a lot of sick in our house. But yeah, so Easter happened. We did make do. We had fun in our own backyard and spent the day as a family and just kind of relaxed. I made a ton of soup. I've been making a ton of soup, so I don't know if you guys know, but I follow a lot of Budget Bytes recipes. I know this is not the first time I've mentioned her in my videos. I have her app. I love her app. It's $1.99. I highly recommend it. There's a ton of free recipes on there that you can just kind of like tap through as you're cooking, and it is step by step with pictures and links to videos if you need extra help. But I, like today, even because they're more sick than I am, I'm not really sick, just low energy. Which you probably can't tell because I get so excited when I film these videos. I watch other podcasters and I'm like, oh, they're so calm and soothing. This is so nice. And then I think like, that is not my podcast at all. Like, that's not in me. I am like excited and loud and high energy. You don't watch me to calm down and relax and go to bed. But maybe you watch me when you're feeling down and that gets you excited and inspired, and I'm okay with that. I'm happy with that. But anyways, I think I was talking about soup. Today I made homemade chicken noodle soup because earlier this week I roasted a chicken, so it's like throw that carcass in there, get some good juices going. So chicken noodle soup, and then tonight I'm gonna make lentil and kale soup. These are both recipes that are Budget Bite recipes. And earlier on Easter I made, this was really good. It was a smoky tomato soup. I think it was smoky tomato soup. It was super good. I made that with grilled cheese for lunch, and then that evening I made another soup. What did I make? It wasn't chili, but she has really good chili too. I made a hearty vegetable beef stew. So I used her garden vegetable soup recipe, and I also had stew meat that I put in there too. The only difference that I did, sorry, my dogs are barking. The only difference I did was I actually made a roux, and I put that in the mix, and I feel like it made a difference. It kind of thickened up, made more of like a gravy stew than a soupy stew. But yeah, so yeah, we've been all about the soups lately. So yeah, other than that, the only other thing I wrote down is tonight is my local spinning guild meeting, so I'm super excited to go to that. I missed last month's, so I'm super excited to go get my spinning socialization on, even though I'm not the most social person. I can be very shy and introverted, but when you get me around people who also are passionate about the things that I'm passionate about, then it's not really socializing. It doesn't feel like. It's just like talking to other people about things that you both love. So that's like the number one tip for introverted people. If you're introverted and you want to start coming out of your shell, just go find other people that are passionate about the same thing as you, and it won't really feel like socializing. I mean, it does, and there's still like that time where you need to be alone again afterwards to recover, but it's a lot easier than trying to socialize with people that you don't really have anything in common with. Maybe that's just common sense. Okay, I'm rambling now. I'm gonna end this video. Thank you guys for spending some of your day listening to me chat about the things that I love. I hope you guys made good progress on whatever it is that you are doing or making, and until next time, happy crafting. Bye!